Welcome to the We Blended and Blessed podcast. I'm your host, Wayne G, and I'm joined by my lovely bride, the most beautiful
Erica G.
Our podcast offers real life scenarios and situations that help you and your family overcome life challenges, grow, have fun, and be blessed. We would like to thank you for tuning in this week as we talk about a topic near and dear to our hearts as we go through it sometimes. That is parenting through chaos with your bonus kids.
Yeah.
Them people. And some words would say, them folks, right? Let's face it, kids are going to go through things and do things that require correction, guidance, discipline, patience, love, and some Jesus, of course. So what happens when you're faced with a situation whereby you as the bonus parent need to provide or assist the bio parent with the corrective action and or discipline required for the bonus child? In some instances, this can go left real quick because we can be overprotective of our children and reluctant to allow another person who is not the bio parent to step in all matters pertaining to the child. Of course, we are no different than many people in blended families. So, how do we blend gracefully, effectively, respectfully through the chaos of parenting? Let we chat about it. Oh yeah, we're here to help. So with that, hit us up with any questions at the We Blended and Blessed Podcast at gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at We Blended and Blessed Podcast. YouTube, of course, at We Blended and Blessed Podcast. TikTok at the Gidry Gang _ and at Twitter, We BNB Pod. That's a lot of mouthful though. So babe,
Tongue twister.
tongue twister. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We through Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras is over until
Yes.
next year.
Until next year.
Until next year.
I think I have adopted this official saying in my age at this time. I love to see Mardi Gras come, and my body love to see it go.
I agree. That's the best way to put it.
The last 2 weeks of this event that happens in New Orleans, in South Louisiana, we didn't even went over to Mobile, y'all. In the last participated in the Mardi Gras in the state of Alabama, not once but twice. In the last 2 weeks.
One was that one that took the cake though.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have groceries, snacks for
that Trinity Garden Parade. Folks over in Pritchett, man, y'all, that thing is on a whole nother level. Y'all don't care how y'all come out there, and y'all just show a lot of love. We in the Trinity Garden Parade. I just want to plug this.
They'll get your hair done.
They'll get your hair done.
Get your lashes.
They'll get your lashes.
Get you some cold drinks.
They'll put some laundry detergent in your house.
Some snacks.
And some toilet paper.
Some plates.
They will even give you some cash on the route. Along with some shots.
Oh yeah, they'll pour you a drink.
They will pour you a drink literally on the parade, or they will pass you a bottle of shot.
And moon pies, more than you can count.
More than you would ever desire to have.
We have given away so many boxes of moon pies. Yet.
We still have several. So, if you're listening to this and you like moon pies or you like any other little Debbie snack cakes,
oatmeal
we still
pies, Star Crunch.
we still have some. Hit us up. All right?
We'll take care of you.
So, now, back to the topic that's at hand. Parenting through chaos with your bonus children. Oh, I love my bonus boy.
Yeah.
And of course, you and your bonus daughters.
Yeah.
So, what is chaos?
Complete disorder and confusion.
Yep, sound like a parent-child relationship to me.
Yep. Doesn't matter if it's bonus or not, right?
No, it don't matter if it's bonus or not.
Doesn't matter.
We got a gang of them. 5 to be exact. Different age groups, different things going on in their brain. From the oldest, college, to preteen
Mm-hmm.
to princess turned demon at times.
Not a demon.
Well, it seems like that way sometimes.
Mm.
What would you call it then?
She's at that in between. She like can't really be a baby anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She knows a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but she I don't know. But I don't think demon is the word.
She a princess.
Yeah.
Super caring.
Mm-hmm.
Super bratty.
Very bright.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay. I take the demon back. My wife, as she always does, help me find a better place to land with our words when it comes to rearing up these children.
Helping him with his emotional intelligence. Yeah.
Yes, the bonus and the bio kids alike.
Yes.
So, chaos is what happens in a parental-child relationship at times.
Yeah.
And
I can
if
see that.
And if you have never experienced chaos in the parental-child relationship, my advice to you would be, keep living.
How about I say keep on living?
Keep living.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen. Not going to say it's going to be the worst of the worst, but you're going to experience some things that's going to make you pull your hair out. You see my head? For those that's on YouTube, I am bald, been that way for a couple of years. But anyway, so now we look at the chaos part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you begin when it comes to correcting the bonus child?
I think we had like an earlier podcast about this. And I just believe it definitely has to come from a place of love first.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship has to be already established. I do think it's a little bit hard to provide correction when there's no relationship. Like I'm watching on Netflix, Ginny and Georgia, right? And not to spoil it, but Georgia ends up getting engaged to a guy, and he wants to jump right in and discipline the kids. And the teenager is like, can you not? She was never really feeling him in the beginning because she still had the hope that her parents will get back together. Like many kids, many teenagers. So
it depends on if they saw enough. Sometimes they'd be like, you know what?
But the thing is, she saw them go back and forth multiple times, try to make it work, and then end up not making it work. But still had that hope because, multiple reasons. You would have to watch the show. But the
I'm
point
about to
is,
say I have no clue of what you're talking about
but
because that is not one of the shows
you
that
won't
I
ever
frequent.
Watch it. We know what you like. And if they don't know, I won't tell y'all today. But for the most part, he wanted to be apart, but he didn't have the relationship. So it's hard to give correction because she did stuff as a teenager, sneak in her boyfriend in the house, throwing a party while her parents were away. And he wanted to be like, and that didn't work because she couldn't hear that from him.
Right.
I believe it's because they didn't have a relationship.
It does. It most definitely starts at having a relationship. And I think with the bonus kids in particular, you got to create a level of balance with them. It can't be that, you only want to get involved when it comes to chastising, disciplining, correcting. You got to have that bit of, play or enjoyment where they see another side of you in a way that's welcoming.
Yeah, love.
Love.
Yeah. It's kind of necessary for discipline. Like love, you can't discipline without love. Because if you discipline without love, then what is that really? Is it still discipline?
It won't feel like it to the child.
So what is it?
It's something that the child don't like. A lot of. So when it comes to when you decide to correct the children, when did you feel comfortable correcting our bonus kids?
Well, I'll say this. I don't like to have to correct any of my kids in a bad way. I know that is necessary, but those are the toughest moments, right?
I'll
they need
correct
it.
them in New York City.
No. I do. I don't have a problem with it. I just want them to get it. But I know that you have to tell kids over and 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 over.
Yeah, you remind me constantly because
Yeah.
my expectations sometimes can be very unrealistic. I am human in this sense that I tell it to you once.
Yeah.
You affirm that you got it, you understood, and now I want you to go ahead and execute.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I didn't feel comfortable until I knew where we were in a relationship. I really believed, again, that there had to be, the kids had to know me for who I am. Not for what they thought, not for what, they've heard, or, stories about stepmoms. People talk about their own experiences. They hear stories from
Stepmoms,
their peers and, classmates, and they don't always have good relationships. So they hear all these things, and without love, like, that means you're just doing it out of anger. And it can easily become abusive.
Misconstrued,
Yeah, but it can feel like abuse if it's not done in love. Because if I'm correcting you in the heat of a moment and you don't know that I love you, then you're gonna think I'm either angry, lashing out, or just downright probably evil, right? So
evil stepmother.
And that's a believable such a believable thing.
It goes back to, the Cinderella story.
Yeah. Well, in Cinderella, she was not nice though.
I'm just saying, but those things that happen in children books, they craft what you think of stepmother.
Yep, and people adopt that.
And they adopt it, and then you carry on. So, if you're out there and you're using the term stepmother, stepdad, to refer to people, look at it. We said this again. We cannot say it enough. But adapt this in your vocabulary. Bonus. Bonus dad, bonus mom, bonus kids. Everything is extra.
Yes. So when did you feel comfortable? I think you felt comfortable pretty quickly. Kind of didn't have a choice, but that's what I think. But I'm gonna let you answer it.
I didn't have a choice with it, but I did feel comfortable. The only thing that I still do not feel comfortable with, it comes to like the physical discipline. I believe that, my hands are pretty heavy. He's becoming to be a young teenage boy now. And my hits or licks to him may not be that soft.
May not be?
This may not be.
Okay. Definitely not. Okay.
So with that, I don't feel extremely comfortable, but for him and I, we try, I'm going to ride him and try to pull the best out of him. So when I am disciplining, jumping him, I'll let him know that I'm jumping him, and then afterwards, after things have settled down a bit, I gotta go back to him and let him know, where my heart is, what my intentions are, and that it's all coming from a place of love.
Right, because to make sure they understand, like, do you know why this happened?
Yeah.
Do you know? Because I think that goes to teaching your kids accountability too. Like, I don't just, or we as parents don't just click out for no reason.
Not at all.
We
Not at all.
We don't correct for no reason. If we're correcting something, that means something had to be done wrong. And so sometimes going back to them to just have a conversation, it gives an opportunity to teach accountability. And God knows our kids of today,
lack
I'm
accountability.
about to
to
say they
just-
can benefit from those accountability teaching moments, because that's a dangerous place to be when you can't be accountable to your own actions. You're not self-aware, and how you help with that.
Ooh, that's a dangerous road.
Oh, it's
You
so
know,
dangerous when you can't
be accountable,
and you're not aware of
and you're
yourself.
not self-aware.
Oh man, it's a massive just destruction.
It is destruction, and you know, he and I, you know, we have our moments, but you know, I have to be, as a parent, as a bonus dad. You always have to be, I feel as though, the bigger person.
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
scenario.
especially in a bonus parent, bonus child relationship.
Yeah. So if I get in my feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and I stay in my feelings, and he stay in his feelings, we don't solve anything.
Yeah.
We don't reach breakthroughs. We don't reach points of understanding.
Yeah.
Because we want to stay mad.
Yeah, and then, you know, the enemy is funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
The enemy wants you to be mad, wants you to go weeks without talking, walking around, you know, the house. But like, there's a Bible verse that basically says you can be angry, but not I'm gonna have to look it up, but not act in it. And then you can't let the sun go down on your wrath, meaning you technically can't go to bed mad.
Well, I know one person I don't like to go mad.
No,
and go to bed mad at.
You shouldn't go to bed mad.
I don't like to go to bed mad at my bride. Keeps me up at night. I'll just go ahead and nudge it. If you know how you want to nudge somebody, tell them move over, nudge them and wake them up and say, you know what? We need to talk. But last time I told my wife that we need to talk.
Man,
in the middle of the night, she thought I was about to say something.
I didn't know what he was talking about.
I had something on my mind, and I needed to talk to her about it because I wanted to be connected in and throughout.
And we weren't even mad. So
we
it
weren't
was
even
like,
mad.
What? He was like, I need to talk to you about something.
I had something on my mind.
Oh,
I need to get off.
And I was like half asleep, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? You know, that's like if a person hit you up and be like, we need to talk. You already think that's like about to be it's about to be a breakup.
You're bracing yourself. But you know, when I get back to my bonus kid in our relationship, and we have a very unique relationship, and one of the things that I always tell him is that I am invested in making you become the best possible version of yourself.
Yeah.
So my thoughts, my actions, my efforts is coming from a place of trying to reach that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You may not like it.
Yeah.
Because you may want to be a lazy bum at times. Just period. If you got teenage boys out here, I'm more than sure you all can relate. They can be some lazy you know what.
Yeah.
And because it's a Christian podcast, I'm just going to keep it like that. Because I've been called Peter at times.
My husband is Peter.
Yeah.
Literally.
So, because of this road that we travel, he and I have to remind him of that after we have our little heated moments, whatever it may have or whatever it calls for, that we come back and we reach that understanding. Because one day we have to turn him loose, and he has to go out and become a pillar of the community and then begin to raise his own family.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I want to, that I would like for his significant other to say, she don't have to tell him pick his drawers off the floor.
Oh.
And much more than that.
Please no.
So
I am thankful that is not my story.
That is what I would like, because our son is a trifling boy that became a man, and his mama is there no longer to clean up everything.
Yeah.
So
I would hate that for me.
So I want him to be
like, who raised you?
Exactly.
I want them to be like, oh, I need to meet your mom.
We raised him
Yeah.
to be the person that he is, a pillar of the community that is strong, that is encouraging, that is responsible, that is respectable, and all those adjectives in that, you know, for people that have daughters out there, you know, you'll want your daughter to meet a boy like ours. That's our goal, to release somebody that will be proud, to call our own. But we're going to, in order to get there though, I believe.
You gotta correct.
You gotta correct. And there's gonna be some tension. You gotta be okay with a little tension.
It's necessary.
So, I think we covered this. You know, I think you need to establish a relationship with that bonus child before the correction begins.
I agree.
So, now that we have established that, what if there's resistance to establishing a relationship? So now, because you haven't established a relationship, and you can't establish relationships, you know, through different things that may happen, you know, outside noise, somebody, you know, giving, you know, either the dad giving some noise to the child, or the mom giving some noise to the child, and creating a bit of dysfunction and encouraging that resistance to conform to the new household.
Pray. You're gonna have to pray. You're gonna have to be very patient, and pray, because sometimes the only person that can change the heart is God. So, and then you be you. You never compromise who you are, especially if you're a good person. Like, good people don't let bad things or bad situations corrupt who you are. Like,
right.
if you are just a good person and you're in a situation where the child hasn't had an opportunity to get to know you yet, you have to be patient. You have to, like you always say, you have to play a long game. Because the kid has to go through their own issues. And then we as parents don't realize how much we put on children to bear, because we want them to go left instead of right, or go right instead of left. So I encourage the bonus parent to be patient. And I mean, honestly, I don't know nobody who's looking to discipline their bonus kid. Like, oh, I can't wait to discipline them. I don't think
Me even tell me they got somebody that's saying, oh, I can't wait to tap that.
I hope not. Because honestly, certain things, I would rather, certain stuff, I'd be like, hey, I come to you and say, hey, this is what's going on. Hey, this is what's going on. Now, there are times where I have to address things in the moment.
In the moment, right.
But for the most part, it's a collective thing.
Yeah, I don't like being the
I mean, and let me just say this before you go. I don't have too many issues with my bonus babes. I really don't. So
they're overall good kids. We don't have, you know, many issues, but I can say this: we are like everyone else. We have some bumps in the law.
Oh, of course.
But
not like a lot.
We must overcome.
Yeah.
Our kids, thank God, knock on some wood, man. We have some good kids, but they do know their way to bonehead.
Yeah.
Period.
I think all kids will test the waters and see how far. Let me see how far I can go.
Test the waters and then become bonehead.
Yeah.
In that test.
I like to say test the waters.
Okay. You call it that. That's why she is who she is, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I am who I am.
Yeah.
She is so delicate, sensitive, and responsible with her words. Me, on the other hand...
Because you can't take them back, babe. Once the words are out there, you literally cannot take them back.
Well, I don't tell them nothing.
No, I'm just saying in general. Once the words come out of your mouth, you can't take them back.
All right.
It's out there.
She's the responsible one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just gonna put that out there. So, you know, before I get into this next point and tell our little story about our children when we come to this point of correction. You've taught me this and you showed it to me, and I will always encourage this into playing the long game when children may not understand what's going on and they're acting in such a way. You as the parent, be the parent that's an adult. If you're an adult, act as such. Don't act like the child because they're lashing out. They're not responding to your advances. They're not conforming to the new environment and conditions. You be the adult, play the long game, keep a cool head. Cool heads always prevail. Period.
And love conquers all.
And love conquers all. And then still pray.
Lots of prayer.
And then whatever else you gotta do, scream, and whatever else, if you gotta have a cup of tea, have some tea, whatever. But play the long game when it comes to this marathon in parenting kids through chaos.
Because it's coming.
It's coming. And it came for us, and we're gonna share a personal story about our children. We had two different instances where us as the bio and bone parents, we have a responsibility that we must play, and we can make a decision and a choice to play things, and it may impact our overall relationships with the child and also the overall relationship we have with our partner. Right? So we had a situation with my bonus kid, and him and his friends decided to play. They decided to play Ding Dong Ditch. It depends on where you're from. I don't want to say the word on the podcast, but knock on doors. Negro knock on doors.
They would have got it with the
Okay. So they decided to play this in year 2023. This game is a very old game, Ding Dong Ditch, where you knock on people's doors and you run away. But they had the brightest idea to play it on the back door. They decided to...
And let me provide context first. They were walking
on
through
a
path, and there's no gates.
There's no
around
gates.
The backyard of people's homes.
Yes. And it was going to get some McDonald's.
Yeah.
That we had just sent the money via Cash App for. And that's no better. Oh, no. A child going to do something, they just did. You sent them some money, thinking they're going to be some good boys that they normally are. But then they get a wild hell to go play Ding Dong Ditch while they walk down this trail to go get them a Happy Meal.
Yep.
Because the technology that exists in 2023, there's cameras just about everywhere. These cameras caught them playing and kicking on to kick the door and then run. They thought they had a good time. But as soon as they know, the police was going to show up and interrupt their Happy Meal. And this is one of the most frightening calls as a parent that you would ever want to get. Excuse me, Mr. Gidry. We have your son. Yeah, at the precinct. What? What happened? He did what? Yeah. So me and my wife had to go and try to, figure out what in the world has just happened? So we get to where they are, and the police said, you know what, realized after talking with the kids are good boys, but they just made a very dumb choice of playing a game that is pretty old. It's played out. Police said, talk with the lady. They apologized to him, would make this thing go away. Of course, you see your child and you almost want to you wring the neck out of them because it's like, where's your brain? But you can't wring your neck out of them because then, I think you get another charge, right? If you. So we get there, we make the child, the child apologizes. We apologize and we go on our way. In that moment, my wife was, extremely upset. I'm upset. Now we get back to the house and we got to figure out, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
What's the next move? And, she do what she does. But in the same moment, I have to be right there and explaining to him what the different things that his action has now caused, but also parent with her in that moment and not just say, that's her child, she need to figure it out, and then kind of give up on him in that situation because
I would have probably felt like you were giving up on me too.
Yeah. So just being, for me, I just was, right there in the trenches. His mother touched him up enough. I didn't need to do anything like that. And in that moment, my wife prayed over our son. And of course, I'm like, you know what? That is the ultimate show of love through it all. When your child is messing up, has messed up, and they don't even know because they got a break. The grace of God has given them a break in this situation, which in many times, if you do it, if you rewind, 15, 20 years ago, no issue, non-factor, right? And even beyond that, non-factor because we didn't have the technology, nobody, no harm, no foul.
And we've all done it.
And we've all done it. We've all done this game before.
Well, most of us.
Most of us.
I know I have.
I've done it too many times I want to comment on. Mm-hmm. But we've done this game several times. But because of the time of where we are and the different things going on in our country, you can't do this anymore. Right. And I think I want to just express that to all of our listeners and tell your children if they still think this is cool or if they do it and you don't know about it, whatever the case may be, this game is played out. You can't do it anymore.
Right.
So with this, we put our child on punishment from some of these activities, but ultimately we came together and we did, we were a unit as we, put these corrective actions for our son because he needs to know that we love him. But ultimately, we want him to be responsible and accountable for his actions, and he cannot do such things, period.
I agree. It's still a bit touchy for me, just a little bit. So I don't have many comments on that one. But it happened. I'm thankful that it was just, it ended in just an apology.
Absolutely.
So.
That was your praying in the grace of God on our son that day. While it was just a mere practical joke that went completely left, which people of his age play practical jokes, but it went completely left. Period.
I agree. guess it's my turn, right?
Yeah, you had an instance as well.
So our little baby, I would say have temper tantrums from time to time, right?
Baby girl.
Yeah. And this particular day, I think after receiving correction after correction after correction, it's like, all right, that's enough.
No, hold up before we go there.
What?
I gave
yeah.
I gave instructions to our children coming off the Mardi Gras break. They hadn't done their chores because we've been just out here in the streets partying. We've been parading, having a good time, enjoying the festivities that the cities have to offer, right?
Right. Okay, to provide context, yes. You gave the initial
I gave the initial direction that today
right.
was going to be the day that they did their chores that they've been being freed of for the past several days and week, right? The past week because of the festivities that they've been participating in. So I had the buy-in from my son, but my daughter, she didn't seem to have gotten my memo all the way. She understood it, but it didn't register that the fun was over, and she needed to now participate in her chores that she normally do on a Friday. And my wife was home with the children, and I had to leave. And you had to carry this out and oversee what they were supposed to do.
Yes. You want to tell the rest of the story?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I just want to get a context, man.
Okay, I thought you was about to tell the story at this point. And not to mention, the little kids were home that day as well. I think, everybody was just kind of tired.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
Yeah, they were home as well.
Which is really 4 and 5. Thing 4 and 5, but they feel like 1 and 2 when they're around.
Yeah. So during the cleanup process, she had found some old candy that she gave to Wade. And the night before,
and just mind you, this same candy that she gave to him, he took the candy when we was in the store as I was being a irresponsible father, letting him have candy to think he was going to shut up. He took the candy and he sprayed it all over of all of our groceries that we had in the basket. And I told her we'll never buy this candy again. Well, she must have forgot that part of it, but she was told that.
Well, anywho, that happened. I ended up talking to you on the phone. And so you talked to her about whatever. I wasn't even in the room. I was fixing breakfast. And then, she kind of, I guess was, I think she acknowledged that she had an attitude. But she was like walking around slamming stuff. And I'm like, hey, that's not for us. Let's not do that. Let's lose the tube. We good. And it was just hard for her to shake. And it escalated, I guess, pretty quickly for her. And then she ended up having to call you because she kind of, I guess, told on me, right? And so we talked to you, told you what happened. But I think, and I mean, I told the kids to leave out the room, that I have a 5-minute break to herself.
She needed a 5.
Yeah, she definitely needed a 5. And so I still prepared her food, and I think this is where it's pivotal in the discipline part. While I was still just redirecting, or making suggestions to her cleaning process, I still fixed her breakfast. And I was like, hey, your food on the table. And at that point, I think that's where the shift happened, because she wasn't going to come out her room. And if I didn't offer to her, because this is where it's about the parent being the bigger parent, like you mentioned. So when you are the bigger parent, because could I have just left the food there on the counter? Yeah, because when she got off the phone with you, She didn't bring me my phone back. She left the phone in the room. So could I have been a childish adult and left her food on the counter and not bring it back? You know, tell her to come eat? I could have. But I mean, who does that benefit really? And so at the same time, the boys had already ate, and so they were ready to go outside. So I took them outside, so she had a chance to come in, eat her food with BJ, and we had company over for her. Ate her food, and like by the time I came back inside, you know, she was fine. So sometimes when you hangry, you know, you got a lot going on. That's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so she asked me the question. She was like, you know, Coco, can I have my candy apple? And I was like, you good now? Like, you straight?
Mm-hmm.
And so she just kind of looked at me and she was like, and so at that point, we had the talk about just the reiterating kind of what transpired and, you know, talking to her through that. Like, there are going to be some times you don't like what you have to do or you don't like me to say something. I said, but sometimes I'm going to have to do it. Not in a bad way, but the things have to be said. And at the end of the day, it's still done in love. So we hugged it out. She ate her candy apple. And now when I tell you literally for the rest of the day, my girl was glued to my hip all afternoon. Like,
And the next day.
And the next day, like glued to my hip.
And after she came back from her visit, went away for her visitation, and she come back.
So it's like, to me,
still glued.
Still glued. Like, she wrote me a note, and she was like, to the best stepmom ever. You know, you're kind, you're this, you're that. And so, again, how I handled it dictates how far we go or how we come back. But again, that love piece is so important because she knows without a shadow of a doubt that I love her.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime the correction happens, that those moments are, you know, emotions are temporary.
Because it doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't.
Like, you know, to
It
where
doesn't. And I told
you
her.
have to really, like, correct her.
And I told her, I'm like, you're my child that listens. So when you don't listen,
because she normally just
don't work out.
Right.
And so, you know, for the sake of this, I mean, there were other details, but for the sake of this part of it, I think as the bonus parent, again, stepping up, being the adult in that moment, because at the end of the day, some bonus parents probably are childish. Oh, you had an attitude with me? Well, you figure it out on your own. You had an attitude with me, I'm not feeding you. And I obviously discourage that behavior. Because that can change, but that can change the dynamic of your relationship because it's not a bio unit. Like, you know, you've loved your children from the very beginning. I'm coming in and loving them from this point on.
And you got to play catch up.
I mean, I guess that's how you can say that.
Well, you're trying to figure, you know.
I think you just have to work just twice as hard, just to keep things copacetic, if you will. And I think to me that's what it did, because I could have it could have gotten really bad because, you know, our situation is different. You know, Wendy has a bio mom, a very active parent. So that could have went way left if I would have been, you know, a childish person or being immature about it. Mm-hmm. And I just think that just kind of speaks to who I am as a person, as a parent, and as a bonus parent. And so, like I said, we don't have those moments too often. But, you know, that was probably one of them. I think that was like the first time she was really upset and more at her own wrongdoing, not because of me necessarily, but that was the first time that it had gotten to a point where she was just like extremely upset.
Right, because she's normally the child that will do the chores quick, knock them out.
And be doing everybody else's chores.
And then do everybody else's chores. So it's typically not an issue, but this particular moment, her fun period was over and she had to do this. I also think it's important that when the bio kids are at their, you know, other parents' house, that they have to, go through that period of correction and not run away from. As soon as they get corrected, I need to run away from it.
No, I think that's probably. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
So I think
because
that
it's temporary. Like emotions, if you trust your feelings all the time, they'll lead you astray.
Right. So
Like,
you gotta go through those emotions,
and you have to allow
and allow
the parent
them to process.
You have to allow the bio parent to parent, and you have to allow this is how the relationship strengthens.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want what's best for your child, you allow the bonus parent to have that moment to show that, hey, this was done out of love. Period. Like, and I think that's where, some people can go wrong. Oh, I'm gonna get my baby. You're not gonna do, and you don't allow that. But if that parent is not going anywhere, the bonus parent not going anywhere, you set your own child up for failure.
You set them up for failure
because then they still have to come back.
Right.
And then they weren't able to mend something that was so simple. When you look at it,
it's very simple.
In the grand scheme of things, it was only simply because of cleaning up. And now we're gonna hold grudges. We're gonna teach our kids to say, "Well, you don't have to take that." Well, no, it's just simple correction. Everywhere you go, you're gonna be corrected. In the schoolhouse, you're gonna be corrected. At home, you're gonna be corrected. At your second home, you're gonna be corrected. And we have to teach kids how to take the correction, make the adjustment, and still know that the other parent and bio parent, bonus parent, they still love you.
Right. At the end of the day, they still love you.
That's what it's about.
Fair enough. Well said, babe. I'm so thankful that you guys got over that moment, and I just love to see it kind of like play itself out, because I think sometimes we can want to pull a cord prematurely on matters, and we don't allow them to play those emotions out, and then let people naturally form these bonds that they need to form in order to have long-lasting, thriving relationships, right? Because when we have those little moments, because we've had it with our oldest at times, and those moments help you re-strengthen your relationship.
Oh yeah.
And it helps redefine like new levels. It's like, you know what, I was pretty shit, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And now I realize that, and then and I just. I'm able to bounce back.
Yep.
We all able to bounce back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, with that, I think it is time for this thing that we want to do.
Oh, yeah.
No, I gotta pivot. Right? You messing with me, man.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't say anything.
Oh, one thing. Before we get into this, when you recover these relationships, and you kind of have to, as the bonus parent in these relationships, when you have these little moments, what is your ultimate responsibility?
Teaching the child what's right, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, just driving it biblically, he who spares the child, you hate them. That's what it says. You hate them. But if you love your children, you'll correct them. So ultimately, if there's a period where there's a teaching moment, then it's our responsibility as parent, bio parent, bonus parent, however you want to say it.
When you're a parent, your responsibility is to teach.
It's to teach. And if I don't teach you, then what am I doing? I don't take away from your bio parents. But if there's a behavior that's happening right here in my face, I have to tell you something about it.
Because everything can be delayed.
Because most kids, they go on to the next thing, and then parents come back 5 hours later and say, hey, so what you did? And now they have to relive whatever they were upset about in the beginning, because, you know, she's the type if you bring something up like that, you know, it's kind of like shutdown mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had to have a talk today about homework. Instead of just being honest about forgetting the homework at school, we made up this whole, you know, went so far as to just do something. And it was just like, hey, you know, through it all, just be honest. Because we can help you if you're honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, whatever is done in the dark, it eventually comes to light. I said, ask BJ how many lies he didn't got caught in. Little white lies, but how many do you get caught in? Because you can't get away with it forever. So it's always teaching moments. They just don't always end in tears. But am I always constantly providing correction out of love? Yeah, it happens. Or, like, who would I be really if I ignore behavior that I see is not right? Would I ignore my children, my bio children? Nope. My son, same tonight, same instance, same. He is now looking for his rubber bands that he stopped wearing.
Months ago.
He stopped wearing them, and now he want to go look back at the place where he had them months ago, which was not the proper place.
Yeah.
And now you're a little perturbed, but you have to be mad with yourself because you need to put your things back where they belong. So just as I corrected him tonight about his rubber bands, she received correction about being honest about your schoolwork. So it's constantly happening. But sometimes kids can't self-regulate their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Or they need a little more time to regulate.
They need time.
Yeah.
And they need adults.
Yeah. To support and help them through those moments. So,
okay. So with that, now I need to just make sure I'm sorry I had that in my last little part. I wanted to cover now, can you close us out in prayer, please?
Yes, Peter, I will pray for you.
Thank you, darling.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you once again for the time that we get to share. We thank you that you have purposed us for this moment. And God, I just thank you now that in this episode, we just kind of covered discipline. And your word tells us that discipline with love. It teaches our kids. You teach us and guide us on how to correct our children so that we can train them up in the way that they should go. And when they grow old, they'll never depart. God, I pray now that parents who are struggling to discipline their children in spite of their mess-ups, God, I pray now that you give them strength. Give them strength to still correct even in their anger. So I pray now, God, that even though parents may be angry at times, they do not sin against their children. Fathers do not provoke their children. And I pray now that kids are being encouraged to respect their parents, because that is the word of God, and it comes with the promise that they shall live long. So God, I thank you now. I pray now that those who don't have any resources, find resources to help them discipline, to not give up on their kids when they make mistakes. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And with that, thank you for listening to another episode of the We Blended and Blessed podcast. Until next time, stay blessed.